welcome to the next part of our tutorial. This is going to be about setting up your FTP details for your project in Release Manager. Now, just to explain, this particular part of setting up Release Manager causes quite a lot of trouble for people because they don't understand the principle of what we're doing. So the first thing is that Release Manager needs to store its files online. Generally, we put the files up online using FTP, SFTP, a manual process of your own, or recently we also added Amazon S3 cloud storage. Now, what happens is the Release Manager itself needs credentials to use your FTP, but your clients will download the files from HTTP. So in the same way that you would upload your website using an FTP tool like FileZilla or WinCP, your clients use a browser to download it. And Release Manager uses exactly the same upload-download cycle. So what we're going to set up for our IG game here is Amazon S3 storage. Now, as you can see, we have support for SFTP, we have support for Amazon, FTP passive and active, although we really recommend passive out of the two, and even more so SFTP or Amazon FTP. And then local, and it's a bit confusing to see now as Dropbox local. Dropbox used to have a facility of creating a folder that was accessible from the web without a Dropbox account. Subsequently, newer accounts can no longer have that, so this is just in for a couple of people who may have added it originally, and we will be phasing that out down the line. Moving along with Amazon S3. Now, once you've selected the type you want, you have to configure and test. This starts up a tightly coupled wizard, which will hopefully take you through the process and get you to the point where you're working and operating properly. So the wizard has a link to learning more about S3. We're not going to take you through the process of creating your account and those things. The S3 help pages are pretty good about that. Once you have your account, you have to create a user and an application key. And then you have to load that key and the secret key here in Release Manager. So I'm going to go onto my Amazon cloud here. I already have a key, so what we're going to do is just delete this key. So this is for a user I created called Release Manager. So I've deleted that now. Now I'm going to show you the key for today, but I'm going to delete it later. So it's not a crisis that I'm showing you the actual secure keys. You should not let people know these keys. So here are the credentials that I have. You should download them and save them somewhere safe, but you can always create a new key. And since it's only Release Manager that uses it, if you have to create new keys, it's not such a train smash. So I'm creating a new one, put the ID in there, and I will then, you see there's a space at the end. Watch out for that. You don't want the space. So then I'll put the secret key in there. When I click next, it's going to log in. So it's logged in and it's showing me buckets. So this is currently what I got, is a Celestial Release Manager test bucket in Amazon. So what I'm going to suggest you do is you create a single bucket for all of your releases. So I'm just going to go quickly to the management console that I already have open. You'll see that there's one bucket here and it reflects the same as the one that we're seeing in. So now I'm going to create a new bucket. I'm going to call this bucket Celestial Releases. Okay, so that's my release. That's my bucket. You can choose which territory a bucket is in. So a bucket is a place, a bucket centralizes all your files into a particular territory. For this I'm going to use Ireland. Gives me better upload speeds from South Africa, but you'd obviously use a server that suits you. So we create our bucket. It appears there. If we go back in, it's not in the drop down, but if we go previous and we go next again, you'll see that it is now in this list. So I'm going to select Celestial Releases, and once again, nice little create bucket page there. If you want help, go next. So the next step after selecting the bucket is to choose the folder. So as you'll see here, there are no folders at the moment. So we go back into the console and we open releases. I can create a folder. Now, currently Release Manager only supports the first tier folders in AWS. So you can only use one folder here, not a subfolder after that. So we're going to create a folder and we're going to call this IG game. Make it all lowercase. It's a bit silly to put case in these. Okay, so now I've created my folder egg game. It looks like IGGG game. But anyway, nothing inside this folder currently. When I go back into Release Manager, it doesn't show here until I go Previous, Next again. It downloads the list of folders from AWS. So it does take a little while. And there's the folder. So great. Now I've got the folder. Now, remember earlier I said that once you upload your files, they have to be downloadable from the web. The nicest thing about S3 is the APIs will actually give me the URL. So when I go next, that's the actual URL to download these files. This is actually the thing. If you wanted to set up a CNAME record and point it to here, you can do that, but that's really a lot more advanced. For most people, it should just be fine to leave it as is. So we click Next. We're presented with a test screen. So the test screen is going to now connect to S3, upload a test file, then download that test file via the web and compare the files and then do a cleanup. So when I say test S3, see it starts uploading to S3, uploads complete, retrieving the file, performing cleanup. So it was successful. So this means that we're actually set up and we can use S3. Now we click Finish. We don't click Finish, we're not accepting this configuration. So click Finish, we're configured, and you'll see at the bottom, out of the tasks, that is now gone. Thank you. That concludes setting up your S3 file storage system.